Yeah, hi everyone. So welcome to SK Technologies. So in this video, I will explain you about Kubernetes objects. So far we discussed about the Kubernetes intro and Kubernetes, uh, the installation and the cluster setup, right? So now we are going to discuss about the Kubernetes objects. So where you are exactly deploying your application. Okay, so that is what our main agenda, right? With help of the Kubernetes, so this orchestration tool, what it will do, it will uh, it will orchestrate your containers, but actually your containers having your applications, isn't it? So finally, we are orchestrating our applications. That's it. With the help of this Kubernetes orchestration tool, we are orchestrating the applications in the real time. Okay, so now how you have to deploy your application in the form of Kubernetes objects. So slowly we will see. Okay, yeah. So the very first object is very fundamental object is so which is a pod. Okay, so this is the Kubernetes one of the object which is very fundamental object. So where you have to define all your deployment things. Yeah, so this is very fundamental object where you have to define your application details. So slowly we will see how to define and all. But as of now, just remember, so this is the very basic object. So where you have to define your application. Okay. So generally, how we are deploying your application in the form of containers means, so in the containers we have to define the image, right? So the based on the image, so Docker image, then only it will create the containers, right? So in the here also we have to define the Docker containers information only. Okay, so there are two ways to create your pod object. So either you can go with ad hoc commands which are starting with the kubectl commands, okay, or there is a standard way, and the two the recommendation way which is the with the help of the manifest files. Okay, so there is a file you should follow the AML language standards, then you have to give all instructions. Okay, then you can go and create the your Kubernetes objects. So 99 90 100% you can say, so people are following the manifest files way only. With help of manifest files only we are deploying our objects in the Kubernetes cluster. So even in this tutorial also I will show you how to write that manifest files. Fine. So then you have to create these objects. So we will see. Once you done this part, so the next object is a replication controller. Okay, and there are some short names also, guys. So let me return the short names like you can call it as a POW. Okay, so no need to complete it as a pod. You can call it as a POW, or you can in the same way replication control also you can call it as a RC. So replication controller, what does it means? So generally, yeah, definitely there might be high load on your applications, right? So at that time, how we need to manage that load means with help of the replicas, which means the same application, the same set of applications running with the another instance with the same configuration. Okay, so like replicas. So with the RC, we are defining the replicas. Fine. So there is one more object which is replica set. Okay. So replica set which is known as RS. Okay. So this is also same replicas only. So this is the enhanced version, guys. Okay. So enhanced version of your RC. That's it. Okay, it means latest version of the RC. There are some slight differences between RC and RS that we will see later. Okay, then the fourth one, very important one, the object where we are actually defining our application, our main object, which is deployment. This is the object, right? This is the object where you are defining your application. 99% people are defining this object only. The custom applications, how they are defining the how they are using how they are defining the application set, okay, with the help of this deployment object only. Okay, so you can call it as a deploy. Fine. Okay, this is the short name of the deployment. So there are many advantages with this. Okay, like replicas. Again, we have deploying the replicas and update without any downtime. Okay, and scalability. So easily you can scale up. Okay, scale up and down. Both you can perform. Okay, update your without any downtime, zero downtime. Okay, and so many advantages with this deployment object. So this is what we are working on in the real-time applications. Okay, real-time projects, we are defining the deployment object only. Then there is one more very useful one, which is a service. Okay, the short name of the service is SVC. You can call it as SVC. So here, how we are making the this is the for network purpose. So after the deployment, so people definitely wants to access your application, right? How they will access your application means with help of these services only. So there are three types of services. Okay, so NodePort, this is what we are using, and load balancer, LB. Okay, and bridge network also there. So we will see slowly all this stuff. Bridge network. Okay, so by default bridge network only. So we will see the differences between node port, load balancer, all these stuff. So these three things are comes under the services. Okay, the short name of the services is SVC. Fine. Now one more object, the namespace. Okay, so namespace. This is one more object. So this is very useful, guys, because in the Kubernetes cluster, the application whatever you are supporting, that is not only the application running in your cluster. There are so many applications. Okay, why? Because that is a huge setup in the real-time project. The cluster setup having huge resources, and that's a huge configuration. Okay, you cannot simply leave one application in the cluster. So due to the budget is matter, right? In the real-time projects, the project cost is matter, right? So that's the reason, especially in the lower environments, they will deploy so many applications in the lower environments, which means it's having low priority, isn't it? But in the critical, in the production and all, so dedicated clusters will be on the specific applications. But in the lower environment, so with the help of this namespace, we can deploy n number of applications in the same cluster. Okay, the short name of the our namespace is NS. So here we are isolating our applications. That's it. Okay, without confusion of the multiple applications. So isolatedly, we are deploying our applications. Okay, in the specific location. How will you segregate your applications? How will you segregate your multiple applications? Okay, so with the help of this namespace object. Fine. Then we have volumes. Okay, PVC, PVS. Okay, persistent volumes. We have the concept called volumes. So we will see later. So inside the volumes, persistent volume. Okay, persistent volume. The short name of the persistent volume is PV. Okay, and this one, there is one more term called persistent volume claim. Okay, which is called as a PVC. Fine, this is one, and this is volume claim. So these and all for the volume purpose, guys. Because see, if pod goes down means definitely you will be losing your container data, right? So how will you persist your data means with the help of the volumes only. How we did in the Docker, the same way. But there is a specific definition here, specific object for this volumes. So these are the persist volume and the volume claims. Okay. Then there is one more object which is very important, demand set. So demand set. Okay, DS, I'm not sure about the short name of the demand set, maybe DS. Okay, so demand set also one of the crucial object in the Kubernetes cluster. Fine. So with the help of this, we are especially the monitoring of the cluster. For the infra level, we are using this demand set object like monitoring of your cluster nodes. Okay, because the worker nodes only having all these objects. Master server only dedicating for your cluster maintenance, right? So there also a couple of things are running, but those all are purely related to your Kubernetes cluster. But in the object, in the worker nodes, those all are dedicating for your application. Your application perspective only, we are using these worker nodes. Okay, you have to take care of your worker node also, right? The healthy status of your worker node, these demand sets are taking care. Okay, so we will see slowly all the things. And apart of these, almost these are the major objects. So apart of there may be few other things, so later we will see. Fine. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we will see this pod object. Okay, how we need to create, how the manifest file, how we need to write and all. Okay, so in the next video we will see. Thank you guys.